Beautiful people, welcome back to Around the World with Steven. Welcome if you're new, and if you're returning, I appreciate you. Worldies and travelers, how we are doing? Thank you all for your support, your love, your care, everything. Man, I appreciate you. Words can describe how much I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you all to my super fans, all you wonderful people that donate to support the channel, to support me so the videos could keep coming. I appreciate you all so much. Today we have a video which is titled I Sat Down with a Killer by Word Mango. This is heavily requested recently, and I am curious to find out what this whole thing is about. It looks like it's an interview. So if it is an interview, this would be the first time I've personally seen Stephanie do an interview. Wow, this is exciting. This is exciting. Please like, share, subscribe. I'm excited to get into this and see what the story is all about. Man, I sat down with a serial killer. No, sorry, with a killer. Let's get it.
Bada bing, bada boo.
There is a certain process of elimination when you are at the scene of a death. Some cases are obviously going to be trickier than others. Some cases, the whole time, the investigators are debating, first of all, how? Like, how did this even happen? We don't know. And if this is what truly happened, if our theory is correct, are we sure that's what really happened? That's what the investigators are doing. But for Detective Ryan, this case starts off really easy. Dead man in the living room in his own house. He's dead in his living room, in his house, in like a secluded wooded area. He walks in. Was it natural? That's the first question. Well, no, because there's droplets of blood right at the entrance of the house.
Whoa.
It doesn't seem like it was natural. Detective Ryan steps into the house a little bit deeper now. Was it a robbery gone wrong? The door shows no signs of forced entry. He steps inside further, and there are just streaks of blood
Yeesh.
everywhere. One of the other officers walks straight up to him and just says, well, somebody tried to cut this dude's head off. Murder.
Whoa, hang on. What? Okay. Let's process the whole thing. Secluded house. That means a house in the middle of nowhere. And there was somebody unalived in their living room. Streaks of blood everywhere, including a blood-soaked carpet. Bro, that is a nightmare. Already there's a disadvantage here, which is a house in the middle of nowhere, secluded house. That is a nightmare, because if somebody comes in to attack, who are you yelling for? You are the only one in miles radius. You are the only one in a long distance. Bro. So the guy she talks to is the guy that did that? Oh, man.
That's what this is. We got the how. The cause of death is murder with a hunting knife. By the clues left behind in the living room, I mean, nothing of value is taken. All of the blood is concentrated near the couch in this living room area. Whoever did this hunted the dead man. It's like they hunted them and killed him in his own living room. And it wasn't quick either. Like, there are slash wounds all over this man's body. His throat is nearly slit. You can see the bone on both sides. There's blood all over the walls. There's blood soaking into the carpets. This guy was hunted. He was killed rather painfully, rather violently, in his own living room. The first interesting detail that sticks out to Officer Ryan is that there's this bloody footprint that just feels so out of place. Obviously, there's gonna be lots of bloody footprints all over this living room, but it's concentrated in this specific living room area. except this one clear, bloody footprint right in front of the door to the primary bedroom. It's almost like the killer, whoever this person is, walked over there, put one foot just outside the door, never stepped inside. What are they doing? Detective Ryan steps inside the master bedroom and he starts looking around. And that's when he sees it. He's like, did the killer slit that man's throat, walk over to this bedroom to spit on the bed?
Huh?
Detective Ryan knows instantly that whoever did this knows the dead man, targeted the
Whoa. I don't understand this. Wait, what? So they see a bloody footprint, which is not like the prints, which is indicative that there was a second person there, probably the killer's footprint. And it was in front of the bedroom. They go there to find out what happened, and he had spat on the bed. But my question is, if he spat on the bed, wouldn't that have dried up given the time? Or did the spit come from... Oh man, I stop playing. What?
the dead man, hunted the dead man, and left a giant trail of evidence. It's not long after that that Detective Ryan is gonna find the killer. And he's got a lot of questions to ask this killer.
Oh, me too.
And so do we.
Oh, yeah. This episode includes mentions of grooming, animal abuse, and CSA. Please don't hesitate to take a break if needed. Please. That is also a PSA here. If you can't watch things with these elements in them, please do yourself a favor. This is, I can feel, is going to be crazy. Oh my goodness.
Can you take us to when we're in the car after you kill Dennis?
Whoa.
I was bleeding severely. I had a severe wound. Speaking to my buddy in the passenger seat, I was not even thinking about getting away with it. I was thinking about stopping the blood flow.
Did you have a hole in your hand?
I did.
Huh?
I put a knife right through it, severed the
Whoa.
ligaments and tendons.
How long was the knife?
It was a hunting knife, so they're about 6 inches long, 8 inches.
And that was also the murder weapon?
Yes.
Did you take the murder weapon with you or did you leave it?
Took it.
And there was blood everywhere. Was it coming from your hand or was it someone else's blood?
A mixture.
Oh my
Did
gosh.
you feel the need to get rid of the blood?
I had a glove on, and when I got back to my house, I could wring out the glove. It was just pouring out of me, and it was everywhere in my garage.
Hang on. Oh my goodness, bro. What? Okay, so he is the killer. Definitely. Now, my first question is, with how brutal the crime scene is, how is he still free? Or is he about to go serve his sentence or something? Because it looks like he's home. All right. He had a knife he used for the unalivement go through his hand? Come on, man. And he said once he got home, he could wring out the glove and blood. Bro, heck no. Heck no, I didn't prepare for this. Yo.
Can you walk me through the hole in your hand?
See, it wasn't straight through the hand. It was down this way and out this way. So it went the whole length. And you could see pretty deep into because it was wide open at the time.
And you're just driving with one hand.
I had a
Adrenaline.
glove on at the time, so I couldn't see it until I got back and standing in my garage, pulled the glove off, and then I was like, "Oh boy, we got a problem."
Did it hurt? The hole in the hand?
Yeah, but I was full of adrenaline and cocaine and alcohol. I wasn't fixated on the pain. No, the pain did.
So this guy, man, wait. First of all, I thought when he said the knife went through his hand, I thought it was like straight through. Bro, it's even worse. It went through sideways, like she showed in the video, and then came out this way. What a nightmare, bro. Okay. Ay, ay, ay. That aside, he drove home with that. And I knew, like, with a situation like that, there will be adrenaline. Adrenaline can prevent you from feeling pain initially. When it wears off, bro, you are in a whole bunch of shite. So adrenaline, and he said he had Coke, not Coca-Cola, but white Coke in him, and alcohol. So everything is like going fast, adrenaline. So he's not even feeling it till he gets home, takes off his glove, and ay, ay, ay. Bro, no. No.
Didn't bother me at the time.
The next morning, police are surrounding your house and you pour a glass of Chardonnay. Yeah?
Of what?
How many police officers are outside trying to arrest you?
Ay, ay, ay.
12 to 20.
Are you scared?
I'm thinking life is over.
Your attorney describes it as horrific crime scene photos after you left Dennis's house. Have you seen those photos?
I have.
Did you feel anything when you saw it?
Honestly, no.
Dennis's obituary reads, "To those who knew him well, he will be remembered as a great man who always went above and beyond the call of duty, and one whose love and loyalty for his friends was unparalleled." Do you agree with that?
No, I do not agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. You unalived him, so you would not. Bro, this is crazy. This is crazy. Because this guy unalived somebody whose obituary read he was a good guy in the community. Is he going to plead insanity? Definitely he's coherent here. He can't plead insanity. Or I don't know if the case is already over with, but dang. And that is where the disconnect comes, because like you are watching this killer confess, oh, I don't know, do what seems like a confession, but then you have to think about the victim too. The victim was loved. The victim was beloved. So like, what the heck, bro? Man, this is messed up.
You provided to us your records, like your psychology records from when you were in jail and then later prison. The psychologist asked you, do you feel relief after the homicide? And you say, I can't say that. Things were out of control. No relief.
Yeah, what happened in that night was horrific. In his house was horrific, and it wasn't anything to sit back and rejoice over. It was a bloody, gory, horrific event.
Do you remember how many times you stabbed him, or do you only know from what's been told?
Only from what I've been told.
Yikes.
Initially, when you were first arrested, I think there was questions of maybe there is an insanity plea. Maybe there are all these other things. And one report reads, the most outstanding clinical feature was the absence of any significant overt psychopathology. So does that mean that some psychiatrists were confused because you didn't strike them as a psychopath or someone that just kills out of nowhere?
Right. They didn't find any, anything psychologically wrong with me to do what I did.
Boy, is that not worse? Because I mean, I'm not giving an excuse for people who are psychopaths, right? But if with these psychopathy tests, it is to test if the victim, if the perpetrator had psychopathy tendencies, if they were they lacked empathy. They couldn't show sympathy. They couldn't show emotions. They don't have feelings, right? Then that would explain why they could go through unaliving somebody, especially this gruesome. So you will find a lot of serial killers, a lot of killers score really high on psychopathy tests, right? After they take them. Now, this guy took the psychopathy test or was analyzed as not a psychopath, so he could go through with it without being a psychopath. I think that is worse, right? Won't you think? Because at least a psychopath, you say, oh man, he has no emotions. He fakes emotions. So him going through with this is probably easy for him. One who's not a psychopath should at least feel something while going through with this unaliving to stop and be like, oh man, I feel bad and run away or something. But he went through with it despite not being a psychopath. I don't know if I'm making sense. That is crazy to me. So what was his excuse? Did he plead self-defense or something? Why did he unalive this guy?
Killed Dennis Pegg.
I did.
You stabbed him.
I did.
Reports say you slit his throat.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
You spit
bro.
on his bed.
Yes.
And you drove off with a hole in your hand.
Correct.
And then you were arrested, and psychiatrists say that they found nothing wrong with you.
Right.
Correct.
And so technically you killed someone, and you don't regret it.
No.
And everyone in town, while you're in jail waiting for a trial, a plea deal, waiting for whatever fate has in store, everyone in town has free Clark stickers on their cars. People are writing articles. People are selling bumper stickers that say free Clark.
They were everywhere instantly.
Wait, what?
In less than a week's time.
Wait, so I take it as his name is Clark and people had free his stickers? Wait, did they hate that guy or something? Or did they not believe he did that? Whoa, now that brings a whole new element to it. Why are they saying free him?
Why did you kill Dennis Pegg?
The short answer is he was a monster.
What's the long answer?
The long answer is he had a 45-year reign of terror in our little town of Stillwater, New Jersey, raping boys.
What the? Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, no. He had a 45-year terror in the town of our wedding boys. Was he R-rated by him? Or somebody he knew? 45 years? Oh, hold on a minute.
You one of the boys?
I was.
Oh my goodness.
I was reading in your memoir, Scarred. You were born with a hole in your heart.
I was. Just a defect in my heart. And the doctors monitored me for the first 6 years of my life. And they told my parents we were down to a 6-month window to operate to repair it.
And so you had the surgery and you have a scar that you call a zipper.
You know, with all the stitching, it looks just like a zipper.
I know in the beginning when you were a kid, you were bothered by the scar. Is that something you're still bothered by?
No, I've come to make peace with my scar.
So, okay, what was your first impression of Dennis? I know in your memoir you talk about how he came over and he offered you $1 to touch your scar because it was the thing.
Hold up a minute. Let's look at Dennis again. Because this guy looks like another Dennis who is a serial killer. If you know Dennis Rader, who went to church and everything and came out as BTK, bind, torture, kill, that serial killer, he's Dennis too and looks very much like this, wears glasses and has a mustache like this. I'm not saying anything about Dennis's that look like that, but it's crazy how similar they look. This guy had a 45-year reign of R-wording boys. This guy, Bro, if it is true, I'm not going to say anything for right now. Oh, man.
He came over and he offered you $1 to touch your scar because it was the thing that your parents were doing to try and get you to be proud of your scar, was to show people for quarters.
Right. You're going back, to 1971 to have open heart surgery as a 6-year-old child. Open heart surgery today is still a risky endeavor. So they were extremely proud of me for surviving this. I was in Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City for a month straight. And they were so proud. They just wanted to show me off to their friends. And they thought a neat way to, when you're a kid, you just want to fit in with all the other kids.
Yeah.
I had something now that made me stick out from everybody. So they just thought it would be a way to get me comfortable with it by showing it to their friends and collecting a quarter.
Oh, so that is the scar right here. That is the scar right here. Imagine being a kid and having this scar and everybody seeing it. Bro, how depressing would it be as a kid? Because you don't understand a lot of things. You're being viewed as different. Everybody's bringing you quarters to what? Touch your scars, see your scars? Crazy. Whoa, but he looks good, by the way. Man, I'm low-key jealous of this, bro. Wow. But damn, I don't even know.
Get me comfortable with it by showing it to their friends and collecting a quarter.
Dennis Pegg was a family friend.
He was my brother's boy. I had a brother who was 6 years older than me. Jay. And he was my brother's Boy Scout leader. And we had a lot of land where we lived in New Jersey, and he would hunt on our land with my father and brother. I wasn't old enough yet, and my parents owned a restaurant back then, and my father put on big Sunday night meals, and he would come every Sunday and have dinner with us and tell stories about. He worked at the county jail as a sheriff's officer, and he would tell stories about there.
Do you think that he targeted your family to get close to you guys, or do you think he genuinely was just friendly with your parents?
Targeted.
Yeah, before he goes on, bro, the guy was in the sheriff's office. The guy was in the sheriff's office, and he was so close to his family that his parents knew him. He came and sat down and had dinners with them. Bro, this guy is a piece of rat's turd. A stupid piece of rat's turd. He got close to this guy's family to get to him. And he gained so much trust that I believe at some point, if he had come out to say, this guy's doing stuff to me, because he was in the sheriff's office, he was police officer, whatever it is, and he was nice in the society, in their community, they would actually not believe this guy. How scary is that? The person you are looking for to protect you is the person harming your kid. Oh my goodness.
Predators have to win over, one, they have to win over their community so nobody would ever suspect them. Two, they have to win over the family. And then last, they have to win over the victim.
Can you tell me about the moment that he saw your scar?
It was just a couple months after I had the surgery. Everybody in my family was in our backyard, and I came inside to get a drink and watch cartoons for a minute. And Dennis came to the front door, which was right next to our den. And I heard his voice, and I bounded up. I loved Dennis. I just thought he was great. He always had his gun on and a badge. And I let him in, and he asked where everybody was, and I told him everybody was out back. And he said, let's sit in the den for a minute. And then he said, hey, I got a quarter. Can I see your scar?
What?
Didn't think anything of it. Lifted my shirt, showed him. And he said, I've never seen a scar so raised up like yours. I have keloid condition, so my scar is pronounced. And he goes, how about I give you $1 if you let me touch it?
Man, what?
I couldn't possibly think of in my little 6-year-old mind of any ulterior motives he would have? And I said, sure, Den. And he took his big meaty fingers and he ran them up and down my scar. And then he went below my scar line to like my belt line. And he was just probing and saying, is your stomach sore from the surgery? And I'm like,
This guy is disgusting, man. This guy is 100% disgusting, freak, pedophile, vile human being. I understand his parents were having kids give him a quarter just to see the scar, so he becomes cool with it, right? In the community, right? But you don't do that without the parents involved. He liked you because he saw you close to his parents. You came having dinners with them and everything. So he thinks you're a cool, like safe person. You meet him in the den alone, giving him a quarter to touch his car without the consent of his parents. You're disgusting, the Danish guy, wherever he is. It is crazy. And he's saying big, meaty hands. You could tell he could still remember that day. For him to describe it as big, meaty hands, you know, as a kid, there are things that happen that you can't get out of your mind. You just cannot. Like, oh my goodness, man. I remember like being a kid, very, very young. Was I in kindergarten? Was I in primary? I don't know. But I was going to school. And then on the road, actually, a guy was unalived on the road and he was naked, right? Now, I remember our car going by, a lot of people surrounding the guy. And then I got up, crawled, turned, and through the back window was looking at the guy laying there. Bro, I tell you, I kid you not. I remember going to school, lunchtime, me getting my plate of jollof rice in front of me, and I did not touch it. I did not touch my food. I was thinking about what I saw in the morning on the street. I remember it now. I remember the smell of the jollof right now. It was a plastic spoon, plastic bowl, little bowl right in front of me. I can remember that. There's some things as a child you can never forget. I think in this guy's case, it is the big meaty hands of the guy. Bro, this is insane. When he said that, I immediately knew he's talking about a memory etched in the back of his head.
no, not at all, Den. He's like, okay. He's like, this has to be our little secret. He goes, if you tell your parents that I gave you $1 for touching your scar, we can't be buddies.
Look at that.
I can keep a secret.
So when he's like probing and touching, did it just feel like, because you had just gotten out of surgery, did it just feel like another adult that's maybe making sure you're okay?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that the feeling?
Yeah, and I had, like I said, there wasn't one thought in my mind that he could have any other reason to touch other than he cared about me and my well-being.
Oh my goodness. Screw that Dennis guy.
Throughout the book, you describe him as having meaty fingers. And I know a lot of cases that we cover, a lot of victims remember specific sensations or very specific scents even. Is that something that you like remember distinctly as meaty fingers? Like,
yeah, he was a big hulking guy, and I was a little tiny kid back then. When I say hulking, he was probably 265 pounds and just one of those big, beefy guys. Him touching my scar stands out so pronounced in my mind, and the visualization of his big, meaty fingers is like ingrained in my memory. I wish I could scrape it off and remove it, but I can't. It's like ingrained.
Yeah, that is what I was talking about. Sorry for cutting in prematurely. Look, let me tell you, like there's some things that would be engraved, like he's saying, in your memory as a child. You can't do anything about it. Like you cannot do anything about it. You get it? Like it happens so much and you are so focused on it as a child that it takes a picture, puts it at the back of your head and you can't get it out. Right? Like in his case, the big meaty hands. He remembers him as a big, big guy. And look at this giant of a guy. Like this guy, man, talking to a 6-year-old. This is like a giant. Even to an adult, this is a big, huge, humongous guy. What do you mean he's talking to an adult, a kid in the corner, touching scars and stuff like? I would be so pissed if I was this guy's parents. Oh my goodness, man. He is disgusting, and you could tell. If this story is true, this guy's disgusting. It's a piece of rat turd, man.
Memory. I wish I could scrape it off and remove it, but I can't. It's like ingrained in there.
I'm assuming that's a worse memory than the actual open heart surgery.
Yeah, it's he like ruined my open heart surgery, ruined my scar. I hated my scar because what would happen later on. And he's the reason for me hating the way I looked.
Did he have any sort of fascination with your scar, or was it truly 100% just an excuse to start grooming you?
Yeah, I don't think he had any things with a predator. They're never the way they seem. A predator is a chess master, always multiple steps ahead of you. So like everything may seem one way, but to them it's complete other way. And I don't think he cared two hoots about my scar. It was just an avenue to get what he ultimately wanted.
You guys.
That is true. That is absolutely true. And what makes the predators really dangerous in this situation is he is the only one that knows the ulterior motive. He's the only one that knows the real motive why he's getting closer to you. You do not know it. So he's faking. He's acting out another character in front of you. He's acting like the caring guy, the one that is in for, oh yeah, I care about your scar. I mean, look, I protect the whole neighborhood. Let me see that scar. Oh my goodness. Like, do you feel pain groping you and stuff like that? You do not know the motive. He does. He knows all the motives. And that is what makes them a step ahead. That is what makes the chess analogy he's talking about real, because he knows he wants to essay you. He knows he wants to say, unalive you. But what does he do? He acts like a chameleon, does anything to get your trust, the trust of the people you love and everything, knowing what he wants till he gets you in a corner. You being unsuspecting, you do not know. He was 6-year-old. What does a 6-year-old know? Nothing. But to him, this guy is a chess master. He's doing everything right till he got him where he was the most vulnerable. This is insane.
Guys would go fishing. There would be a lake. You and a bunch of boys would go fishing. Dennis Pegg would constantly be there. And there was an issue with the sunfish, like these little fish in the lake that don't taste good. They're not edible fish.
Yeah, I mean, they're tiny. So you to fillet a sunfish, you'd have to fillet a lot of them to get any meat off of their.
So it's mainly sunfish.
Right down by the dam, there'd be a lot of sunfish, and they're a really like gullible fish where you don't even need to put a worm on a hook. You could just put your hook in the water, and they see the bright shimmering, and they just latch onto it, and you catch them and you just release them, or so we thought.
He does not catch and release them. What did he do?
No, and again, for me to say he didn't like sunfish is wrong, because he's a chess master. Remember, he's a predator, and he's one step ahead of us, 2 steps, 3 steps ahead of us. He would tell us little boys that sunfish were a worthless fish, and that they needed to be killed. And he would catch them and stomp on them with his boot.
What?
Or he would catch them, throw them in the grass alongside the river, and then pick up a big rock and smash it down on them. And he'd be like, that's what you do to things that are worthless.
So everything's like a means to an end for him. So he just wants to scare everyone?
It's a control thing. It's a domination thing. It's also to let you know if he considers you worthless, this is what will happen to you.
Absolutely. He's planting something in the kids' heads, like, oh yeah, this guy is cool. He's with us. And why is he by the river every day, by the lake or the pond every day? Was he not supposed to be in the sheriff's office? But because of little kids, you see, he's there acting like he's the big, oh yeah, the big homie, the police that likes them. You know what I mean? Like they see him and they're happy. Oh, he's here. He's the cool one. And what does he do? Catch the sunfish and stomps on them, or catches them, puts them in the grass along the river, and then lays a rock on them. So already there's a fear element to him. Bro, he says, these are worthless. Look at what he's doing to them, bro. He better not see you as worthless. And he's a cop. So already we have this high hopes for him. We have this high esteem we give him. And he's doing this, bro. He's a no-nonsense person. We see him and we're like, yeah, we like him, but there's a dangerous element to him. You think a 6-year-old is going to say no when he comes to you and say something after seeing all that? Yeah, he's a piece of freaking rat's turd. I hope everything he's saying is true. Then this guy is the biggest rat's turd ever. Crazy doing that to kids.
You know, we're down there as a group of young boys, and it's not just me. He's targeting. He's targeting all of us, and letting us all know how he feels about worthless things.
This is a little sidetracked, but I was doing research into sunfish because I didn't even know what they looked like. And in a lot of indigenous cultures, they're actually known for protecting the young.
Really?
That's like they're like some of the fiercest protectors of their young.
Wow.
Like they will stay by their young for 10 to 14 days and starve themselves just to protect them. And so it seems almost ironic that he specifically did not like sunfish as well.
Wow,
and it's very interesting.
Never heard that. Yeah. It's amazing.
So in one of the court documents, it mentions that he drink a goldfish, or he bit a goldfish in half, spit the halves into his beer. Did he drink the beer with the goldfish?
Yeah. And he said he used to do that with his army buddies.
And he would just make you guys watch?
Made me watch. This was at his house.
You're saying that he will bite a goldfish in half?
Yeah, he bit a goldfish in half and then swallowed it down with his beer. And you can make up whatever psychological reference you want. Again, it's to scare me. It's to show violence to me.
Like his demeanor during all of it is just...
Dennis was a light switch. He could be one way, outgoing, friendly, gregarious, fun-loving. Instantly, eyes dilate, turn black, and he becomes a completely different person.
What happened?
Yeah, he's a piece of rat's turd, man. He bit a goldfish in half and swallowed that with his beer in front of the kid to make a statement to the kid. Just like he said, he is... The more weird things an adult does in the presence of the kid, the more fearful the kid is of the adult, and the more reverence he gives the adult. It's like, man, this guy, he's crazy. You see what he did? Oh my God, he swallowed a goldfish. Like stuff like that. It'll fascinate a kid. And the kid will be like, what else can he do? Like excitement, right? But at the same time, caution at the back of his head. That is what the Danish guy was doing to this guy. Like he was carefully grooming this guy. He knew what he was doing. I am so surprised that he didn't have parents or anyone save him. It's so sad. Oh my goodness.
Happens at the Polaroids.
Yeah. Down at the lake again. I lived at a lake community, and there was a dam area, and the dam would separate the lake and then into the river. And that's where all us kids would hang out and play. He did everything out of the watchful eye of my parents. When everything happened, my mother said, I never even saw him with you. And I'm like, everything happened down at the lake. And he was giving beer to us young boys, not just me, down there. Goodness. So I'm like 9 years old. Get a picture of a little 9-year-old. He invites me into his pickup truck down at the lake, and let's have a beer. So he gives me a beer. And I thought it was great. Like, here's a lieutenant. He's a lieutenant in the sheriff's department. And I'm getting to have a beer with him. I'm thinking, this is fantastic. And he says... one of my friends just bought a old farmhouse, and there was a old desk left behind. So I started going through the drawers, and it was filled with no pictures. You want to see some?
What?
And I'm like thinking like Playboy magazine type stuff. He, reaches, he had cargo shorts. Cargo shorts had the big pockets on them. So he opens up his cargo shorts pockets and takes out a handful of Polaroid pictures. And he's looking at them and he just starts giggling like a little schoolboy would giggle. And he's like, oh, these are a riot. He's like, here. And it was a close-up of a young penis.
What?
And he's like, here's another one. And here's another one. And it was just penis after penis. And he's slapping my knee in his truck, laughing. Aren't these so funny? Aren't these a riot? And I'm like, where's all the women, Den? And he's like, oh, those must have been in the other drawer. Next time I go over to that house, I'll open up the other drawer for you. But look at these. Aren't these a riot? Aren't these so funny? And I'm just like,
So you think...
Dude, if this was real, your death was funny. Not these pictures. You are an idiot, Dennis, bro. What? I understand the fact that there are two sides to a story, but the fact that the whole town celebrated and asked for this guy to be free is enough. Is enough. Especially instantaneously. Oh, they knew what was going on. So I am tempted to believe this guy's story. Else he would be in jail. Bro, this guy had a cargo shorts and had Polaroid pictures. If you don't know Polaroid pictures, there is this camera that takes instant pictures. Polaroid pictures of young boys ding dongs. And he had this guy in his truck and he was showing it to him. Is this not a riot? Is this not good? Ha ha ha. Is this not funny? The guy, a 6-year-old guy, however old he was, even knew that, dude, where are the girls? You said you had corn pictures. Where are the girls in it? Oh, that should have been in the other things. But isn't this a riot? Isn't this a riot? Bro, your death was a riot. Your death was fun too. You are an idiot, bro. To a kid, though? To a kid? To a kid?
He took these Polaroids? I mean, there was no friend. There was no farmhouse.
no.
He took these.
Yes. Yeah. He always had large stories. And looking back now, I don't know if one of them was true. I have no idea.
He would invite you to his house and then he would try to feed you beers and...
What would happen a lot is the dam area where I lived, the river went right through Stillwater to a bridge area, the Gristmill Bridge. Mm-hmm. There was an old gristmill right at the bridge. Mm-hmm. And he would say down at the dam area, the fish aren't biting that good. Let's go over, towards the gristmill. Mm-hmm. Or there's twin bridges in another section of the river. Or he'd say, let's go to the twin bridges. And he would always mysteriously slip in the mud. His foot would go into the mud. Or he'd slip and go into the river and get his boot wet. And we'd have to go to his house so he could change his sneaker or change his boots. And that's how he would get me over there.
Yeah, this guy is he's a piece of rat's turd, man. Yeah, this guy is a piece of rat's turd, man. Intentionally slip his boot in the water. Oh man, we gotta go to my house, okay? Okay, 6-year-old, okay? I'm grooming you, but I'm not telling you, okay? Just to get him there. Bro, this Dennis person, and he did this for 45 years. So this guy actually is not the only guy. For 45 years, it means before this guy and after this guy. Oof. Wow.
And then while we're there, well, let's have a beer while we're here. So it would be just to get me comfortable going to his house and having a beer at his house.
Were the houses like far apart, or did people see that there's constantly boys going in and out of his house?
No, he lived up a long driveway, and the house sat alone up there.
So you can't see anything. Like if you were to scream, people can't hear. It's pretty.
There was houses down below, but his was a driveway that went up, did a 90-degree turn to the house, and it was the only house up there. His house, I don't want to call it a cabin. It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. And it sat up on a hill that overlooked the elementary school playground.
Was he like looking there all the time? Was he outside?
I went to that elementary school, Stillwater Elementary School. I was in Little League baseball, and he was at every game that I can recall. Down on the fence, there was a fence that would go around the ball field. He would be down there. He would come around the fence to the bench where we'd sit at and grab your shoulders. Oh, great job out there. Great job. Just always down at the playground with the young kids.
Yeah, the neighborhood friendly sheriff's officer, right? The neighborhood's friendly lieutenant, right? Giving 6-year-old beers. Huh? Yeah, grooming them. But everybody sees him as the neighborhood friendly sheriff's man, right? Lieutenant. This is crazy. His house sat on top of a hill that overlooked the elementary's playground. This guy was living a pedophile's dream, which is disgusting. A pedophile's dream. He had his house positioned where he just looks over, and that is the playground. He was always at your baseball games. Parents probably saw him and be like, yeah, oh, that is the friendly sheriff. Oh, that is, oh, what a sheriff. Oh, we love, oh, your kids were drinking beer. You had no clue, did you? They chugged in more beer than their dads. 6-year-old, 9-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds. You didn't know that, did you? Polaroid pictures of wieners. Big wieners, small wieners. Big hot dogs, small hot dogs. Kids were looking at all kinds of hot dogs. You didn't have a clue, did you? Parents, bro, if you're a parent, you have a lot more responsibility than just putting your kid in front of a screen and going about your daily job. Because idiots like that, Sheriff, walk around, and the people you least suspect are the people that are going to surprise you. This is crazy. It's teaching me a lot right now. I'm going through my head. I'm like, oh my goodness. Whenever I start having kids, bro, kids.
No one thought it was weird? Because he doesn't have kids of his own, right?
Not married, no kids. But he's the lieutenant in the sheriff's department. He's the Boy Scout leader. The Boy Scouts did their meetings in the gym of the elementary school. So
my goodness.
He's wrapped around everything in the town. He's on the Stillwater Historical Society board. The little old ladies loved him. I mean, this goes on for years now. You know, the touching of the scar happened when I was 6 years old. It goes on to, like I said, inviting me into his truck down at the dam to have a beer with him. And this has to be our secret. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to ruin this, so I'm not going to tell my parents I had a beer with the lieutenant from the sheriff's department. This is fantastic. You know, and he made you like his equal. You know, he put you on equal. He made you like feel special, and it's us against the world. Everything he told me. I mean, one of the stories I recite is he was always taking trips out west. And on one of his trips, he said he met the Marlboro Man. Now, if you grew up in the 70s, 80s, the Marlboro Man was a fictional character, but on the back of every magazine with a Marlboro cigarette dangling in his mouth. And he was the coolest dude imaginable. Dennis took the coolest, machoest guy in America and told me he met him on a trip and he was gay. He said,
oh my
it
goodness.
didn't bother me in the least. He was such a great guy. We hung out for 3 days and had dinners and just, you know, just spent a lot of time together. So, and again, he would say, this has to be our secret. Don't tell anybody the Marlboro Man's gay. He confided that in me, you know. I don't want his secret getting out. Did he ever meet the Marlboro Man who played the Marlboro Man?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Probably not. Was the Marlboro Man gay? Who knows?
Yeah.
Bro, that Dennis guy is full of shit, man. And I say that with all due disrespect, bro. Because look, you could see, I mean, from hindsight, we can all see the grooming tactics, right? We agree that we see him grooming this gentleman, right? We could see that. But if you're in the situation at that time, you do not know you're being groomed. You think you're hanging out with a cool cop, the coolest cop ever, right? You're talking to your friends about it, but not talking to your parents about it because that's your whole little secret. You don't have to tell anybody about it. So, and he is like planting this thing in the back of your head, like, oh yeah, penises are cool. This is cool. I'm slapping your leg, or touching your groin and stuff like that. Like, doing that and implanting in your head that, oh, that's our little secret until the big thing happens. That is crazy. You taking the machoist guy, telling him I met him and he told me he was gay and stuff like that, just for the wrong reasons, just so that you can have your way with this guy. He did that just so he could have an opportunity to molest this guy. That is crazy. That Dennis is a piece of rat's turd, man. That is a piece of rat's turd, bro. I think, nah, I can't say it. I can't say it.
It's just like I said, nothing is ever as it seems with a predator. And so what's he doing? He's taking the machoist guy in America, fictional character, but machoist, and making him gay and trying to gauge my response and trying to normalize it. Like, hey, the machoist guy in the world is gay, and that's, again, I that's what I would surmise he was doing. I can't get into his mind.
He tries to start wrestling with you. That was kind of like the gateway into...
Yeah, so he's taken years now, of porn pictures, Marlboro Man, beers, slipping into the river, go to the house, beers, so he's invested years of grooming. And at some point you have to initiate more touch. That's why I see people tussle a young boy's hair, and it just sends a chill down my spine. Because to the normal person, it's like, oh, cute little Billy, But to a predator, they need to initiate touch. And that little tussle of the hair is going to go to a pat on the knee, is going to go to a pat on the thigh, is then going to go to a wrestling match. So he told me that he wrestled my older brother, Jay, and he wrestled my next door neighbor, Jeff. Jeff and Jay were inseparable. They were same age, same grade, in the Scouts together. And he says to me, I wrestled Jeff and Jay. Let's see how tough you are.
What a predator.
And I'm like, okay. And at first he would let me dominate, let's say, get the upper hand on him. And then, like I said, that light switch would go off and his eyes would turn dark and black. And he would pin me to the ground. And he would get his hulking 265-pound body on top of me and start gyrating and moving and moving. And looking back on it at the time, not really realizing what he was doing, but he was erect. And this was getting him off.
And
Yeah, man, this guy did the world a favor. I mean, he did the world a favor. Yeah, I wish it could have been done sooner and even more gruesome than that. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm saying it. I said it. Yeah, I said it, bro. I said it. A 265-pound lieutenant using your position to do stupid things like this to kids. They were kids. They were 9 years old, 6 years old, 10 years old. Bro, you had no excuse to even be doing bullshit like that to them. You had no excuse. Oh, No wonder the whole community went behind this guy. That Dennis guy shouldn't have a legacy. He should have been thrown into a pit somewhere, burnt, like just thrown to crocodiles or something.
11. So you're tiny.
I was 10 when that started happening, when the wrestling started.
I mean, he's like 3, 4, 5 times your size.
Yeah, I mean, and because of I was a sick little kid when I was young. Like, you know, I was in the hospital constantly with the flu and bronchitis and anything because of the hole in my heart. They would put me into the hospital immediately. I'd be in an oxygen tent, and you know, so I was constantly in the hospital, and I had to be careful for a long while after surgery with playing. There was some limitations put on me by the doctors, you know, so I was just a small little kid back then, sick kid. And this guy just took advantage of that. And he could tell like I was insecure, you know, because my scar made me stand out. And they looked for something like to separate the weak from the pack.
Yeah.
You know, like any predator does.
Yeah.
And my scar was, you know, and my insecurities about it is how he separated me from the pack. And wrestling was the next avenue of physical touch. He's devoted 4 years now of stories and secrets, alcohol, pornography, and now it's time to get back to touch.
Yeah, this piece of shit was just not the killer, but the one he did the world a favor by eliminating. The Dennis guy. You could tell he was doing it slowly, and you could see the progression of the grooming and how it went. You could follow and track the progression and how disgusting it went, slapping the thigh, giving him beers and all that stuff. He was in too deep, and before he realized, he couldn't even realize it. He was a kid. He had to look back on it to realize, oh man, this guy was erect the whole time. He was taking advantage of me the whole time. Bro, his little mind could not process it at that time. That's why I'm saying you can't trust anybody these days, man. You can't trust anybody these days. You can't.
There's a part where in your book, your memoir, you talk about how he pinned you down, and he says something along the lines of like, come on, you can get out, come on, squirm. Do you feel like he is getting off on you struggling, or?
Yeah, it's exactly what he was doing. You know, he would get me down, you know, like I would be in the dominating position on top of him, and then all of a sudden the light switch goes and he would get rough with me and like sort of throw me down, my 10-year-old body, throw me down and get on top and be commanding me to try harder to get out, squirm more, move more, you know, because he's wanting me to move against him and what he has going on.
He comes over for Christmas. What does he get you as a Christmas present?
I had a Boy Scout hunting knife, is what they were called. And he brought me a whetstone sharpening kit to sharpen the hunting knife. And over him drinking, you know, a glass or two of eggnog at our house, he taught me over the next hour, you know, keep the blade at, you know, an 18-degree angle, how to drive it, you know, across the stone, you know, the oil you got to use, and then he would have me do it, and taught me how to get a perfect blade on my hunting knife.
Yeah. Oh God, please tell me that is the same hunting knife that did the job. And if that was the same hunting knife that did the job, he inadvertently gave this guy the avenue to sharpen the murder weapon. and that would have been perfect, slicing through the PDF file. Bro, look, let me tell you something. This is the reason why I hate PDF files, right? Some of you may be like, oh, this guy is gruesome, he's violent, why is he saying this? I feel bad for the PDF file. No, I don't. I really don't, bro. I've been through a lot of bullying my whole life. I could, for me to look back and seeing times I wasn't able to stand up for myself and go home and shut up because I was just too scared. Bro, if you're a kid, the fear that walks with you when you're being bullied or something like that, the fear, the trembling when you're driving to school and when you're almost in school, and for you to get down from the car, it took a lot of strength. Bro, I know certain things that I can't say on YouTube. You have no idea. You should be grateful if you haven't been like any form of bullied or molested ever in your life. You should be extremely grateful, because I tell you what, it is something that even as an adult you look back on and it's like, damn, like there's this deep sadness and anger. You have no idea. You have no idea. That is why sometimes I burst out in anger against perpetrators. I get so mad when the law finds perpetrators so like they treat them not guilty and stuff like that. That's why I get mad. That's why I get mad. So no, I'm not going to have any humanitarian plea or something against a PDF file. No, never, ever, ever, never, ever, ever. Yeah, he deserves this. He deserved it. If he really did that. Now, the caveat is if this guy is telling the truth and if that guy really did that. And the reason I believe that is the whole town was asking for his release. So you could tell there's an element of truth to what he's saying. Bro, that guy was despicable. You don't want any kid around you to be traumatized. You have no idea. You just don't. Yeah. So I'm not going to find perpetrators. I'm not going to have any mental health talk when it comes to perpetrators. I don't care, bro. You touch a child, you need to face something gruesome more than what he faced. Yeah, that's how I feel.
And that was something I kept perfectly sharp my whole life.
The hunting knife?
Yeah.
What happens when you're 12, and what happens to Dennis's dog as well? I know that there was like a hunting ploy excuse of like, you're going to pretend to be shot in the woods because my buddy shoots everyone without thinking.
So at 12, he concocted this whole big hunting ruse of having a friend who just shot and aimed and shot without knowing if it was safe to shoot. Mm-hmm. And he said, we've got to correct my friend from this bad habit, and I'm gonna use you as a decoy out in the woods. You're gonna be laying there with fake blood on you, and I'm gonna take him out hunting, and he's gonna do his typical shoot, and then we're gonna come upon you lying there with fake blood, and you need to practice gurgling sounds, like
what?
You're gurgling blood. Your death rattle, he called it. You have to practice your death rattle. So he got me down at the lake one day, got me back to his house. We're going to practice your death rattle at the house. And instead of offering me beer, he offered me blackberry brandy, a glass of blackberry brandy with a beer. And he told me to chug it. And then he gave me another thing of brandy. And his house was, it was a summer day, but his house was like way hotter inside than outside. And in my adult mind now, looking back, I'm like, did he have his heat on? Did he
to take your clothes
turn
off?
his heat on in his house to make it sweltering, knowing what he had concocted? Like I say, with a predator, you never know what they're thinking. So his house is boiling. We're sweating. He wants me to lay down on his bed to practice my breathing. And it goes to, it's so hot in here, let's just take our shirt and pants off, our shorts off. And then it goes to, he's behind me, has me in a bear hug, and me. And I'm screaming, I'm crying. And he had a dog, which is called a coonhound. And coonhounds have this long, drawn-out howl they do. And as I'm being raped, I hear his dog howling away because of my cries and screams. And it didn't stop this guy until he was done doing what he wanted to do with me. And afterwards, he sat me down at his kitchen table and got another beer, like almost like we were two lovers who just had a romantic tryst together. And he brought his dog over to me and said, I want to show you what will happen to you if you ever open your mouth about what just occurred. And he started to beat his dog, and I'm crying and screaming and begging him to please stop. And he wouldn't until the dog lay in a heap at my feet. Now, I was just contacted just 2 days before this interview by a gentleman who, when he was 17 years old, needed a place to stay, and he stayed at Dennis Pegg's house for 6 months. And he said it was the most bizarre 6 months of his life. He said the guy was a complete freak. He said one thing that happened, though, is now, when he was 17, he's 10 years older than me. I would have been 7 back then. When he me would be 5 years later. Mm-hmm. So this dog would be 5 years old. And this guy said Dennis got this coonhound puppy when I lived with him, and it peed on the rug, and he beat the puppy so bad we had to take it to the vet to save its life. So even as a puppy, he beat it for simply doing what puppies do and peed on a rug. And then this is the same dog 5 years later that he beat and probably killed in front of me.
You never saw the dog again?
No. And a lady, a female guard who worked with him at the jail, told me how Dennis came in one day, all distraught, that his beloved coonhound dog Duke died. And we all gave him hugs and tears, and we all loved dogs. We were all dog people. And she goes, I am horrified to think that's because of what he did in front of you, that he killed Duke.
It says in your book that you felt guilty over what happened to the dog. Is that...
I felt he only did that to Duke because of my cries and screams. And if I hadn't cried and screamed during the what he did to Duke wouldn't have happened.
For all you who would come to my comment section and say, oh yeah, man, take it easy on this killer, you're too angry and stuff like that, I don't want to see your comment. I just don't. I don't respect your comment. I don't want to see it. This is one of the most heartbreaking stories I've heard. And I never side with killers unless it's like self-defense and stuff like that. But this story is having me side with this guy as he tells it. Because, man, looking at what that piece of nothing that human trash bag did. If you've been through stuff before, I'm not saying I've been through this before. This is definitely very, very disturbing. But if you've been through some level of trauma, maybe it's bullying, teasing, all these things that lowers your self-esteem and stuff like that. It's hard to overcome that. It is. I had a certain fear for a long time. It took one very, very kind lady to walk me through the whole thing, found out the root of that fear. It took a long time, a lot of cries and stuff like that. And I begun dealing with it. And it stemmed from something in my childhood. So like I wasn't R-worded or anything, no. So to see this guy go through that, and man, I can't. That's crazy.
Do you still feel that way, or?
Yeah. I mean, he might have had that planned. Well, he couldn't determine if Duke was going to cry or not. Like I said, with a predator, you never know. But yeah, I still feel guilty for Duke.
Do you feel like Duke had more humanity than Dennis in that moment?
I feel Duke and I were the only two in that room who had humanity. And that's saying a lot since Duke's a dog. Dennis, I feel, lost his humanity a long time ago. As soon as you dedicate your life to hunting children and them, you really can't say you have humanity. That's pure evil to me. If you're going to define what the devil is really the guy with a smile on his face who's charismatic, outgoing, friendly, charming, who everybody loves, who's involved in all these organizations, who's on the historical board, but who's only doing those things to fool people of his true nature.
What changed after that day?
My life was forever altered after that day. My whole trajectory in life changed that day. Nothing would be the same. I would tell myself that talking about what just happened would be reliving it, and we were never going to do that. We could just bury this down deep inside and go about our life. I convinced myself that that's what I could do. I led the most exhausting life because I would crank on a smile to the world. And inside, I was completely broken and destroyed. And I went through that way my whole life until I couldn't keep it up any longer.
How many years passed since you're 12 and then the day that you see Dennis Pegg at Quick Check?
I was 45 when I saw him at the Quick Check. So you're talking 33 years.
33 years, he's probably still hunting kids.
Yes.
And then there is a day that comes where you effectively hunt the hunter. You step into Quick Check. What happens there? It's like a gas station. It's a convenience store.
Yeah, this one was just a convenience store. Mm-hmm. They have gas stations now. They're a lot larger, but this was just a convenience store in a little, like, 4-store mall. I'm getting a coffee. I'm at the coffee island making a coffee. The front door opens. I think it had a bell on it, so it made me look up. And I look up, and I look into Dennis Pegg's eyes. He sees me, and he yells out to me, "Hey, how are you, buddy?"
He yelled out to him? Bro, he yelled out to him. Bro, I would need all the self-control in the world plus what is outside of this world not to grab him by the throat. He yelled out to him. Hey, buddy. Really? Wow. This guy had no shame. Hey, buddy.
And I instantly start going into a panic attack. I can tell just by the way he said, "Hey, buddy," that he's going to come over to me. I had seen Dennis around our town over those 33 years. I recall once in a bar after college. Me and my buddies were in a bar, and as soon as we ordered a beer, I get a pat on my shoulder, and it's Dennis Pegg. And I chug my beer, and I tell my buddies, we're going.
There's no shame.
No remorse, no shame, no guilt. Yeah, the predators, they don't ever show that. So I had seen him around town, but it had been probably 10 years since I saw him. And what was different this time in that quick check, which completely unraveled me, was that he had a young boy by his side, probably close to the age he me at.
Oh my goodness.
Young boy called him the same nickname Dennis used to make me call him. And I heard that nickname and I saw that young boy, and it just ripped open everything for those 33 years that I told myself I could bury down and go about my life. When he would touch me, I would freeze. I would stiffen like a board, and I felt my muscles it's like a paralysis. And I felt that coming on me, and I felt it hard to breathe. And the thoughts in my mind, just like your mind starts swirling where you can't even think. And I'm like, I got to get out of here before I completely freeze. And this guy grabs me, and I just left my coffee and whatever stuff I had on the island there, and I ran out past him. We sort of shoulder bumped a little, and he's like, "Where are you going? Where are you going, buddy? Come here." And I ran out, and I hopped in my truck, and I sped out of the parking lot, and I went down the road, and my life unraveled. Just completely unraveled.
Do you think you
Yeah, I can see seeing this PDF file walk in being traumatic. But the worst thing is walking in with a child again. 33 years ago, this idiot did this to you, and 33 years later, he's coming in with a child. Are you kidding me right now? This guy is a better human being than me. Because, yeah, definitely you're going to feel panic attack and everything. But, man, I'm going to, bro, no, I can't say it, bro. I would, at that point, that would have been his end, to be honest with you.
saw yourself in the little boy? Is that, or you just felt protective of the little boy? Did you?
I couldn't get out of my mind over the next months that boy, and wondering what part of the grooming process is he? Is he being shown Polaroid pictures? Is he having beers in his truck? Is he at the wrestling stage? Is he teaching his buddy how to shoot right in the woods by lying there with fake blood on him, and doing the death rattle in his bed? It haunted me. I couldn't even work any longer. I was in business with my brother. We had Tire Automotive Center, and I walked out one day, and I just couldn't go to work anymore. I was having to drink before work just to go into work. Instead of filling my coffee mug with coffee, I was so out of sorts. I'm filling it with alcohol, and I'm doing other drugs. So I walked out of the business with my brother, and now I've got free time on my hand, which is never good when you have trauma.
Yeah.
And I've got Dennis Pegg in the forefront of my mind. I've got that little boy in the forefront of my mind. And I had zero coping skills throughout my whole life. mindfulness, like all these foreign terms. I never incorporated it, I just dove headfirst into drugs and alcohol, like literally around the clock. Just one drug on its own wasn't enough. So I'm just taking any drug I can get to try to numb myself, to try to block the thoughts from.
You start unraveling after quick check. But then there's a guy that you see smirking. Who is this guy? You see him smirking on TV. What happens?
Yeah, I was in bad shape. I wasn't sleeping much because of all the pain I'm doing. And I put on my TV, and it's Jerry Sandusky, the start of his molestation trial. Jerry Sandusky was one of the coaches at Penn State University. And he was running a football camp for young boys, and over the course of years, decade plus, molesting boys at his football camp.
Yeah, it's now coming to me. Jerry Sandusky. Oh my goodness. When he said the name first, I could not. Yeah. Big piece of rat turd, man. Yeah, I hope there is something on this guy that I can react to. Yeah, man. I don't want to go to. So that was around the time. Oh. Wow, I see now. That was around that time. So he puts on a TV, sees Jerry Sandusky. Yeah, it's going to trigger a lot of memories.
He was finally facing trial for that. And his trial was starting on June 12th of 2012. And I saw him on the news get out of his lawyer's car and smirking and buttoning his coat jacket.
I don't know what to say.
And I just started yelling curses at my TV and spitting on my bedroom floor because I saw Dennis Pegg as him. I felt Dennis Pegg was never going to face justice.
It's like a similar smirk that they have? Is it?
Yeah, they can never let their guard down. They'll never apologize to you. Like, victims always reach out to me and say, I want to go confront my abuser. And I'm just like, don't. You're going to get re-abused because they'll never give you the answer you want to hear. It's not worth your time. Mm-hmm. And so they keep that air about them. Dennis Pegg in that deli calls out to me like we're best friends. I'm a victim of his. Like, what are you doing? And Sandusky's getting out smirking as his trial's starting. Mm-hmm. And that just infuriated me. I spent the rest of the day out with a couple friends drinking, and me sneaking drugs. I got to go out and make a phone call. In my truck. I'll be right back. So and I'd go out and do coke and pop his necks. And I had someone. I stopped at an Italian restaurant on the way home that night. I was meeting a buddy at my house who I had lent money to, and he was going to power wash the cedar siding of my house and stain it as repayment. So I was meeting him at home, but I stopped at this Italian restaurant, and there was a guy in there who burned me on a business deal, a motorcycle deal.
Oh, no.
I took out a $33,000 loan to have him build me this custom motorcycle, and he took the money, my money and a couple other people's money, and closed up shop in the middle of the night, then left town. And all of a sudden, here he was in this Italian restaurant.
Whoa.
So I went up to him and had words with him. And he was with his family. So I said, out of respect for your family, I'm not going to take this any further, but, you got to pay me, And he just told me to get lost, So I get home and I tell my buddy about seeing that guy. And, we unloaded the equipment first, and we're having a glass of wine at the kitchen table. And my buddy goes to me, that guy's got to be number one on your hit list. And it's been 33 years since I was, and I've never told anyone. And for whatever reason, I couldn't stop the words coming out of my mouth. I just said, actually, he's number 2 on my hit list.
Oh,
the piece of garbage who me as a young boy is number 1. And there it's out for the first time. The air was like heavy, like time stopped. The clock stopped on the wall. And we're just, like, you and I are sitting across from each other on a table, and we're just staring at each other. And he's like, are you for real? Or are you messing with me?
So this is the first time in 30 years that you tell anyone?
Yeah. To be exact, 33 years. Yeah.
You tell Bob, it just happens. You don't even decide. It's not like...
Yeah, it just came out before I could even, like, stop my mouth from speaking. I was just so tired and exhausted and beaten down from drugs, and seeing that other guy inflamed me at the Italian restaurant, and it just came flying out.
Who is the first to talk, you or Bob?
Bob's, as I recall, is the first to say, like, are you for real? And I'm like, yeah, I'm for real. And then he's like, who is he? I'm like, he was my Boy Scout leader. And, like, where did it happen? When did it happen? So I'm just saying, and he's like, where does he live? And I'm like, he lives like 2 miles from here. And I think at that point I said to him, you know what, it's time to go confront this guy. Ever since seeing him with that boy in that quick check, I've just been haunted, and I'm like, it's time to go confront him. Now, Dennis Pegg, he had retired from the sheriff's department, but he was still the firearms instructor. Everybody in law enforcement has to get recertified with their handgun every year, and he was the firearms instructor for 2 counties, Sussex and Morris. So every cop, every sheriff's officer had to go to him to get recertified. So the guy was...
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot to say. I'm holding it in. Let me chip this in. First and foremost, man, you see why during these cases I am so mad and furious and very, very angry when perpetrators are left alone or are not given enough punishment. Look, you don't leave the victim with just trauma. It's not just trauma. No, it is much more than that. You leave them spiraling. He had to quit his job because he couldn't think right, filled his coffee jugs with alcohol and all these stuff just to cope. He wasn't an addict before. He sees this guy and now he has to cope. And this guy is walking around. Just think about the hurt, man. Just think about it. Who can make excuse for such a piece of rat's turd, man? And then what hit me was he turns on his TV once and then sees Jerry Sandusky laughing his way into court first day of trial. What do you think is going to do to him? He couldn't even hold himself, spat on the floor, like yelling curse words. That is how it is. If you've been through something and you see something happening, like you can't stop yourself, man. You just cannot. And you're unapologetically that way. I don't care how much you just don't know. Look, you should be thankful if you were never, ever, 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 ever faced with anything. Like, you should be thankful. That's all I'd say. You should 100% be thankful. You just don't know, and you just don't want to know what it leaves on you.
Is a complete gun nut. And I told Bob that. And I said, we ought to take something with us. I gave Bob a steak knife. And I went under my bed to where I kept that Boy Scout hunting knife he taught me how to sharpen, and I grabbed that. Now, Stephanie, basically this was a suicide mission. A steak knife, a hunting knife against a guy who had 33 guns in his house. shotguns, rifles, and over a dozen handguns. If you were doing what he was doing for 45 years, you would think he would have a gun at the ready under every table, on every armrest, on every couch cushion. You would think, like, my time, I'm rolling the dice here 45 years in. I better be ready. So it should have been a suicide mission when I went there.
What did Bob say when you made that suggestion?
I just handed him the knife and I said, I'm going to go get my hunting knife. And that was pretty much it. It wasn't like a long drawn out thing where we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's and this is how this is going to happen and that's how that's going to happen. It was just like, I'm like, let me just go confront this piece of garbage, and we'll take these with us.
And it's a 6-inch hunting knife, right?
Yeah.
Was that the biggest knife you had, or was it more so poetic justice because he was teaching you to sharpen that specific knife? Or you had like no thoughts, you're like, let me just grab a knife?
I would think it's subconscious poetic justice, like take this with you,
So you have no plan, just a knife. You guys drive to Dennis's house. At what point are you like, maybe this is not a good plan?
No, just like I said, he had a long driveway. It had a 90-degree turn in it. Bob pulled up there and at the 90-degree turn stopped, went up the driveway. His front door was open and there he is sitting. Like he had a storm door. It's a summer night, so the storm door's shut. I mentioned earlier, like the definition of a devil. Well, to me, it looked like the devil sitting in his lair. That's all I saw. But seeing him, this is the first time I'm back at that house in 33 years since what happened with me and the dog. I never went back to that house. And I instantly started going into that panic attack again. Just breathing got real hard, and I feel like rigor mortis in my muscles. And before I completely froze, I walked up to his door, that storm door, and ripped it open, broke the hinge. And I'm standing in his doorway. It's 9:30, 9:45 at night, and there's somebody you ripped in your doorway who just ripped open your door. And he casually looks over his shoulder at me and goes, "Hey, how are you?"
What?
And it just seemed like the most incredulous thing to say in that moment.
Are you kidding me? Somebody rips down your door? First of all, somebody drives on your highway. You are the only house there, so you see them coming. If you have cameras, if not, you see lights coming in because it was nighttime. They come in, sit in your driveway. This guy goes, rips your door up, boots your door in the hallway. You recognize him as a guy you R-worded some time back, and you lift your hand saying, "Hey." No, man. No, man. Heck no. Heck no.
But again, they can never let their guard down. Like a normal person would like get on their hands and knees and start praying like, "Oh my God, I wronged you. I'm so sorry. I know why you're here. Please forgive me. I'm sick. I need help. Come in. Let's talk." No.
Do you think if he did that, anything would be different?
If someone's down on their hands and knees praying at you, begging for forgiveness, I would think so. Yeah.
So he just says, "Hey,
How are you?
what?"
Yeah, no, I think at that point, if that piece of rat's turd was on his hands and knees, he could have been on his stomach and stuff like that. I don't think it would have been different. I do not think. Look, the trauma left on him was massive, and the fact that he met him with another boy, he occupied his mind so much that I don't think there would be a difference. There would only be a difference if it was somebody that bullied you, like something that is less traumatic, not traumatic at all, or something like that, you know. But this guy that changed the trajectory of your life, who left you with this huge trauma and stuff like that, bro, he could have been on his lips, eyes, nose, ears, knees, foot, stomach, ass at the same time. I'm still going full Chucky. I'm still going full Chucky mode. I don't care. I do not care.
What happens next?
We all have two faces. The face we show the world and the face behind closed doors. I've been showing the world that one face, and no one for 33 years has seen the face behind closed doors.
Oh boy.
Dennis is now going to see my other face. The face filled with rage. The face filled with hate. The face filled with anger.
Show him.
And I said, hey, how am I? Let me show you how the hell I am. And I raced across his room. He stood up, and a violent struggle started. I started slashing at him with the knife. He started punching me. A violent, bloody brawl ensued. At one point, he connected with he's still this monster hulking guy. And he connects with a square shot to my jaw.
Ooh.
And as I'm falling down, I grab his shirt to keep from falling down. And I bring the knife down, and that's when I'm holding his shirt, and that's where it goes straight through and straight out and into his skin, just a little. We continue going at it, and I mean we're talking minutes here. It's not like a long drawn out thing, maybe.
What? Wait. So, it was even in the initial part of the struggle that he had the knife go through his hand and out the other way into the guy? And they were still struggling with the knife in his hand? Adrenaline is something, man. What?
3-4 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. It was quick. And he slips in the blood, and he falls down, and it's a mix of our blood. Like I'm gushing blood now. And he's up against the wall. I lean down in front of him. I got eye to eye with him. And I said, it's not so fun raising little boys now, is it, Dennis? And I slit his throat. And Bob was standing in the doorway, wide-eyed. And I said, go get the van and bring it up, because I had one more thing I wanted to do. I walked over to the bedroom. He ripped me in, and I spit on the bed. The answer to everyone's question is, did this solve everything? No, it didn't solve everything. You don't heal from trauma by adding more trauma. You don't heal from sexual abuse by murdering someone. It's not how you heal. I stopped the predator from ever harming another young boy. 45 years was long enough of raping young boys. It should never have came to that. It would be uncovered that multiple boys over the years had come forward and filed lawsuits against him, and he got out from every one of them.
Wow.
But I did what I did, and I knew walking out of his house that night that my life was over. You can't have the wound I have and just show up at a hospital and be like, I was cutting a steak and drove a 6-inch hunting knife through my hand and severed all the ligaments and tendons. I need help.
Did you think about doing that though?
I knew it wasn't an option. I just knew things were never going to be the same again.
So at no point during this altercation, and I know minutes are brief, but at no point he doesn't apologize.
No, there was just the only words he said was, "Hey, how are you?" And throughout the whole attack, he made like a high-pitched squeal. He never uttered a word like "stop," "let's talk," "don't do this," nothing. There was no words, just a high-pitched squeal. Like a wounded animal almost. Not one other word other than that initial thing when I was standing in his doorway.
Yeah, he came out in his natural state. He is an animal, a wounded one at that. So that skill was his natural state. And man, I thank God. I mean, it's bad to say, but man, wow, what a story, man. Oh my goodness.
Did you feel like you're in control of your movements at that time, or did you feel like you're watching from the outside in, or you're just like on autopilot? What is that?
Yeah, I definitely wasn't in control of my movements or any. It was like something had taken over my body, and man, would I be honest if I said I had an out of body experience during that? No, I wouldn't be honest. But it was like that. It was like looking at this reel going on, and just like that's how when I look back at it, like I can't believe what happened. I can't believe that I got to that point of brokenness to go do that and potentially flush my whole life away just from never healing from trauma. It's keeping the secret and not addressing it and not trying to grow from it or heal from it or learn from it or do anything other than let it just poison my system for decades. And that's what it did. And that's the part that I look back on now. And I just like, man, I probably would have died of a drug overdose. And everybody would have been like, oh my God, Clark had a great education and he was so popular. And what did he go die of a drug overdose from? I mean, that's where my life was headed.
Are you saying that even when you killed Dennis, you didn't even feel a moment of relief?
No, there was no relief because of the wound I had, because of how gory and horrific killing someone was. Again, I don't view Dennis as having humanity, but it hurts your soul to kill somebody. It's not therapeutic in any way. It's not healing. Like, it damages your psyche. It damages your soul. It hurts. And I had to be completely broken to go do that.
Do you have nightmares about it, or
No.
you never think about it?
No, I don't give him. Again, if I killed an innocent person, that would haunt me. If I killed a human, that would haunt me. I don't view Dennis as an innocent person or a human.
Why did you walk to the bedroom?
That was to go spit on the bed he raped me in.
At what point were you like, I'm going to spit on this bed? Like, was it just like...
I don't know what came over me. Like, again, it's not like Bob and I sat at the kitchen table, like across from each other like you and I are. And I said, yeah, after I do this, and this, then in my bloody footprints, I'm going to walk to the bed. He spit me on, or me on and spit on the bed, So like, I don't know what possessed me to go do that. It's something to just bring things full circle and to a closure. I needed to do that.
Did it bring closure?
I thought it brought complete closure, like, to my life and his. Like, there was 2 deaths that day. The life I had been living up to that point, I could never go back to living the way I was. And I literally thought, I forfeit the rest of my life. I'll either kill myself or spend the rest of my life in prison, I forfeited any healthy, happy life to just put an end to his reign of terror. That's what I thought.
It's interesting because, like, when I'm reading your memoir and going through that moment, because, I mean, the way that it's written, I feel like I'm there. I'm obviously not experiencing, like, the depth of emotions, but it feels I'm there with you. It almost feels therapeutic when you spit on his bed. And it's, like, kind of interesting because I know you don't advocate for people to do and follow in those steps, but it just... I guess it was relief for the reader.
There's some sort of poetic justice in doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if everybody, and it's a lot of everybody's, if they could spit on the bed they were raped in, they would want to do it.
Yeah. You have a hole in your hand. You drive home, and you say you need to tell your mom. What is the thinking behind that? You're telling your mom because you don't know what's going to happen next, or?
Yeah, my mom had just come up from Florida. Welcome home, Mom.
Wow.
And I called my best friend at the time and the girl I was dating and asked them to come over because I just my life's over, Steph. Like am I going to kill myself after this, or am I going to spend life in prison? It's one of those two things. So let me say goodbye to my buddy. Let me say goodbye to my girlfriend. And let me get my mother up and say goodbye to her. Because this isn't going to turn out good.
And your mom she's 80. How old was she at the time?
Yeah, like 81 maybe.
And so your plan is, I'm going to wake my mom up, tell her goodbye. But your mom's plan is, I'm going to clean up the blood and we're going to run. We're going to get away with murder together.
Man, I've been quiet for a long time. It's just, I'm processing everything. Yeah, man. A mom's love, man. I'm telling you. Nothing can replicate a mom's love. Like, I mean, good mothers, not any other mother, any other type of mother. Well, I'm just thankful that piece of rat's turd didn't have a gun ready somewhere. Saw him come in and then blew him down. Like, I'm just thankful it went the way it did. I wouldn't have wanted him to hurt himself like that gruesomely, but it had to have been part of, man, I don't know. Now I want to read the book. Scared. I want to read the book. Have you read the book? Let me know in the comments what you thought of it. Because Stephanie said reading the book made her feel like she was part of the whole story. It made her feel like she was there. Have you read the book? Man, I'm going to purchase this book ASAP. It's crazy.
Mom's like, we're getting away with murder. She was, man. I guess it's good to laugh about it now, right?
So she wakes up and you tell her what happened. You still don't tell her.
The thing is, I couldn't even tell her then that I was raped by Dennis. I still couldn't. I couldn't bring it out, and she was like dumbfounded. What? Why would you go do this? Why? And I said, to avenge a lot of other kids in this town. And she goes, still, why you? Why are you the avenger? Why? I don't get it. Why? And I couldn't tell her, like, for raping me too, Mom. I still couldn't say it.
The shame associated with that, man.
Buddy earlier. She helped me upstairs. I wrapped my hand in duct tape, which fixes everything.
Oh my goodness!
With paper towel and duct tape, and took a couple Xanax, and went to bed. And my mother went downstairs and started scrubbing the floors all night long to get the blood out.
And so she's like, "We're going on the run," but you wake up and the cops cops are surrounding.
Yeah. She told my sister that she was going to take me and we were going to go on the run.
I know it says in the book you guys are thinking the end of the world, which is Florida.
Right.
You guys are going to go to Florida.
Yeah.
No, I like the plan. I think your mom is really adorable. I mean, I was just so fascinated by your mother because, you know, she's cleaning up the blood. She's ready to go Bonnie and Clyde with you. And then the cops come the next morning. They've got on the loudspeakers. They're saying, Clark, come out. And she's like, no, the neighbors are going to hear.
What?
Your mom is so fascinating.
She said to one of the troopers as I was still in my bedroom, what are the neighbors going to think? He's like, ma'am, I really don't give a damn what the neighbors think.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you see the cops outside.
So they took her out.
Okay.
They took her out of the house.
And they're like, you look out the window and they're just like trying to be sneaky, trying to.
They're like I said, they're hiding behind trees. You know, they don't know
What's inside?
what I have, if I'm loaded up with a AR-15 or what my mental state is. You know, they've got a dead body.
Yeah.
So they're every one of them has their gun drawn. Everyone's taking, you know, some sort of protection. There's this big rock to the left of the yard, and there's trees, and there's the shed out back, and they're just all behind everything, and then they're behind their cars lining the street, and I just couldn't believe it. I was lying in bed like, how are we gonna get out of this? Like, how are we gonna get out of this? And like, there's gotta be a way out of this. And before I could even possibly think of any way out of this, the cops are there, and and your stomach just drops. And you're just like, it's over, bro. It's over. And all I could think, you know, they ordered me out of the house over a bullhorn. And as I walked to that front door, I just called out to God, let one of these guys kill me when I step out. Like,
Wow.
it's over. It's over, God.
Oh, wow.
I don't want to do life in prison. Just take me now. And let him shoot me when I walk out. And I stepped out that front door with my state police shirt on that I put on. And I put my arms out to the side. And I just sort of tilted my head back. And I just waited for the crack of a gun. And it never came. And instead I was ordered off my porch, down onto her front lawn, spread eagle, handcuffed, and taken away.
Were you disappointed when you didn't hear a shot go off?
Yeah.
You were.
Because in that ride to the police barracks was like the longest ride of my life, and
Oh my goodness.
man, one of these guys couldn't kill me, put me out of my misery. Like,
Oh my goodness, man.
I'll have to find a way in prison to do it. I'll have to take care of this myself.
You killed a cop. You're arrested by a bunch of cops. You're about to go to the jail that cop worked at. Things are not looking good. Yeah. Understatement of the year.
Yeah.
But there are some cops, some detectives who seem to... They give you some sage advice in that weird moment. What happens there? Like, what was the energy? Like, are all the arresting officers, do you feel like hatred dripping off of them because you killed a cop? Or do you not even notice what their energy is? What is that dynamic?
Well, I'm thinking like I'm public enemy number one amongst law enforcement. I just killed one of their own. And yet at the state police barracks, this lieutenant, Howie Ryan, comes in and goes, I have to apologize to you. And I'm like, what are you apologizing to me for? Mm-hmm. And he's like, I've heard rumors about Dennis Pegg for a long time. And he goes, I want to apologize to you for never stopping him. He goes, but I can't arrest somebody on rumors. I need victims. I need cold, hard facts. And I had neither of those. And I apologize to you.
How far did you go for those cold hard facts? How far did you go to investigate that? Because if you had opened up an investigation, you could have found the kids, interviewed them, and found that guy before him. He going around hurting other kids. You did not. He was one of you. You can't apologize. You apologize does.
And then he left the room. And at first, Steph, I felt, wow, that's pretty cool. And then I'm like, just started fuming. I'm like, even the state police knew. Everybody knew about Dennis Pegg and young
Right.
boys. Everybody's got a story. The state police just admitted they knew. And yet I'm the one who just had to flush his life away and look at life in prison to stop him. Like, and they knew. So I went from feeling good for a second, getting really pissed off for another second, and then I'm like, what's it matter anyway? I'm done. I'm done. When that cop,
Yeah, I would get pissed off too. This is crazy. The police knew. Everybody knew. They just didn't do anything about it. Watched them for 45 years. 45 years. Just keep traumatizing the guys. Oh, I heard rumors. You can convict anybody of rumors. Did you investigate? Did you open investigations? How many kids came to you to? Are you kidding me right now?
Howie Ryan came back in the room. He could see that I had like mailed it in. He said, I could tell you were done. And he goes, something moved in me that even though you thought you were done, I didn't think you were done. And he said, look, I've got your DNA all over that crime scene. He was in charge of the CSI team that worked Peg's house. He's like, your blood's everywhere. He goes, this isn't a whodunit. He goes, but that doesn't necessarily mean your life's over. My detectives and detectives from the prosecutor's office are in another room waiting to interrogate you. He goes, if you go in that room and open up your mouth, you could potentially destroy the rest of your life. He goes, I'm telling you right now, go in there, exercise your Fifth Amendment right, request a lawyer, and keep your mouth shut. Stay quiet.
Nice. Good.
And I said to him, but I don't have a lawyer. And he goes, I'm going to take care of that for you. He goes, I'm going to get you a lawyer. And he left the room, and on his cell phone, he called one of the big lawyers in our county and said, I need you to fax over to the state police barracks a retainer for somebody, like, immediately. And the lawyer said, who is he and what did he do? And he goes, Clark Frederick's murder. And he goes, okay then.
Whoa.
Had a thing over in a couple minutes.
So he tells you not to talk. Do you listen to him?
I do.
Right when you get arrested, it seems like the whole town is divided. A lot of people feel like you did this for very nefarious reasons. Other people start hearing what Dennis has been doing around town. Do you feel like at any point were there just dividing opinions? Did it feel like everybody had their own thought about what the motive was?
Yeah, there were some vocal people on his side who were pro Dennis, who just like referred to me as a drunk drug addict who just killed a great man. You know, like yeah, I just woke up one day and said, Dennis Pegg, I'm going to go kill you for no reason. Before it like really started coming out about what happened, you know, because yeah, there were the little old ladies on the historical society that worked with him were like, he was such a sweet man. You know, the mayor in Stowell at the time was like, oh, he was a giant of a human being, you know, and then people like Howie Ryan are like, no, I knew all about rumors about this guy. Your audience is going to have to get the book because there's a line from Howie Ryan in the book to the prosecutor. It's one of the greatest lines you will ever hear. I don't want to give it away. It's it's the most powerful line you will ever read.
Really?
Said by him.
We will put the page number so you guys can go get it.
Yeah.
And I will tell you what page, because I know
You know exactly what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what line
That was
you're
a powerful
talking about.
line,
Yeah.
right?
No,
Right,
that
it's
was...
unbelievable line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At that point, once you've been arrested, you're facing first-degree murder charge initially. So you're facing life in prison.
Life in prison.
And you have an attorney, and they're saying, have a little hope, but not too much hope.
Yeah. You know, and it's funny that the lawyer, Howie Ryan at the barracks, called George Daggett, who sent the retainer over. I never even interviewed him at the jail as one of my lawyers. And I don't know why. But I interviewed a bunch of other lawyers, and, one lawyer just wanted to get me bailed out. We'll get you bailed out of here in 3 days. And I'm like, all right. And then this other lawyer came in all flashy with his, gold jewelry, Rolex watch, and he's listing all these cases he's worked. And I knew the cases, and he lost them all. But in my head, I'm like,
oh my goodness,
you lost all those, So I'm like, and then this guy Dan Perez came in. He just looked like a really good guy, really down to earth. And he came in, and he said, I think we can have a valid defense for this. I was like, really? He goes, yeah. He goes, it's not going to be easy, but I don't think your life is over. I was like, really?
Wow.
I'm like, you're hired.
Yeah. We need a defense.
During that time, Dennis had a security deposit box that the police go through.
Yeah.
And they find a bunch of letters.
Right.
That he wrote 10 years before he died?
Correct. And when he was in his young to mid 50s, healthy.
They all have some variation of pray for me. I hope I didn't disappoint you. Forgive me for any failings. Do you think some of these letters are to victims?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
And like, they're creepy.
Yeah.
There's something really creepy about them. Like,
weird.
And the prosecutor told me after the fact that he thinks there was 14 of them in there, that 13 were probably victims.
Yeah, no, everybody in that town, man, it's crazy. This guy was acting like that. Everybody knew it. They didn't do anything about it. And he got to write letters to victims that keep it in his safe. Oh, whatever I've done, pray for me. Bro, if you wanted prayers, the first step would have been to find solutions to your stupid character, your stupid habits. You should have found solutions to them. You don't get to live out your fantasy and ask people to pray for you when you are not working on yourself. Look, you have to want the change. He did not want the change. He wanted to live the fantasy. 45 years is a long time to be bullshitting around and asking for prayers. Yeah. You got what you deserve. For real. You definitely got what you deserve. And I wish it was sooner. I wish the police in that area would have done their job and got him in sooner with investigation and evidence and stuff like that. Would have interviewed people way long enough and hadn't waited till it came to this. But man, I mean, what can you do? So screw him and screw his stupid letters. Nobody's praying for that piece of rat's turd.
Do you ever think, like, right now, to, like, write letters to people in case you die?
No.
He was 50-something years old. Like, what would make you do that?
And he does keep writing, interestingly, like, if I go to heaven, pray for me. But if you're already dead, I don't know.
If you're going to
exactly
heaven,
he's asking for in prayer.
Yeah.
Is it to get to heaven? It's weird.
Yeah, it was. I read those, and it just like left me feeling yucky. Like,
yeah.
And then if you assume that they're to victims, like, I tried my best. I thought we were family. Forgive me for shortcomings. What are your shortcomings?
What are your shortcomings? Yeah.
How many victims do you think that he had?
My buddy's wife is the sheriff's secretary, and she sat in on every meeting with the sheriff in the early days, and they estimate well over 100.
One of the other victims is very close to you. Family relation. Who was that?
My brother.
What happened to your brother?
My arrest opened up my brother's Pandora's box. You know, like seeing that boy in that deli open my box up. My arrest opened my brother's box up, and my brother wasn't ready to face it. He wasn't ready to handle it. Didn't want to deal with it. You know, like I told myself at 12, we're just going to bury this and go about our life. Well, that's what my brother had done his whole life, and everyone urged him to get help, to see a therapist. And my brother did what I did, was to numb himself. And I found him dead on our kitchen floor
No way.
a couple years ago from drinking himself to death.
No freaking way. No freaking way. This piece of rat turd did this for however long, and the victims were passing away because they wanted to numb themselves. They wanted to cope. Don't come here telling me bull crap. Like, forgive him. Don't be harsh on him. He got what he deserved. And the only regret I have was his head not coming off of his body. Yes, I said it. I said it.
This is going to be a 2-part interview. This is part 1. In part 2, we're going to ask Clark about how and why the FBI came to him to warn him that someone put a hit out on his life.
What?
He has, there's his entire journey, or I guess more so fight in prison, trying to get through it while he's surrounded by criminals who are accused of doing the very thing that Dennis Pegg did, which is harm children. There are letters that Dennis Pegg left his presumed victims in his safety deposit box, and how someone very close to Clark is killed by Dennis Pegg after Clark gets out of prison. Like, how does that even happen?
Wait, what?
We are going to go through all of that in part 2. Also, how the hell does Clark get out of prison when he's facing a first-degree murder charge and life in prison? That will all be asked in part 2. But in the meantime, if you feel like you can't wait for those answers, which, same, you can get Clark's memoir. It's probably the most intense memoir that I've ever read, and I've read copious amounts of memoirs before. There are just so many aspects of his story that aren't included in our episodes that you can find in depth in his book. I think I finished the whole book the first time around in like 4 hours. It was one of my quickest reads. There's something about it where I don't know how Clark does this, but every time you catch yourself feeling like, okay, there's a black hole that we've now went into, there's no way out of it, you get out, and then there's just like another black hole. And it is like the most intense emotional journey that I have ever been on. You can also find Clark on his social media accounts and his own podcast, which I will link below. But with that being said, that is part 1 of the 2-part series of the story of Clark Fredericks. And I will see you in part 2.
Bro, hold up a minute. Wait a minute, man. Look, let's all support Clark. If you can get the book, get the book. I'll try and get it. I'll try and get it too. Wow. Man, oh man. There's a lot of emotions going inside of me right now. I don't think I can talk right now. I'm just, it was like I went on a journey. Wow. I'll see you all later, man. Let's support Clark. Oh. I love you all. Take care of yourselves. Bye.
Tuned in, hit play, let's take a ride around the world with Steven, we worldwide. Stories so wild, they keep you hooked. Subscribe subscribe and share. Come take a look. Reacting to the stories of crazy to real. With every new video, we bring the thrill. From mysteries to drama, we cover it all. Join the fam, let's have a ball. From dark tales to